Who is the breakout player for the New Orleans Saints in 2025, or who will be? This is a prediction type situation, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and comment below who you think is going to be the breakout player. So when I loaded this video up, I thought, okay, who would be my breakout player? Now, breakout player is a little different than like best player or most important player. It's kind of a player, the way I almost looked at it like most improved. I looked at it as, okay, who is about to kind of change the narrative around him? Who is the guy who's going to have a boost this year to where he solidifies himself as an important part of this team? All right. Two people came to mind, and I've decided on one. Chris Olave was one, but then I was like, he kind of already is broken out. It's more about like, can he just stay healthy? And I don't know if, I don't know if he can really break out unless he went to like a completely different tier of production. So Juwan Johnson was one, because I was thinking, well, we keep talking about him being this like tweener, tight end, wide receiver. How's he going to be used? All that stuff. But a guy I landed on, and my official selection is Trevor Penning. So I have worked myself into a shoot, or potentially shot myself into a work, that Trevor Penning is going to be good. And I think he will be a productive left guard. I think it makes sense for him to play there. I think his skill set translates to guard. And I like the idea that Kellen Moore has just done this, taken a tackle who failed, busted tackle, moved him to guard. He was cool in Mekhi Becton. All right. So let's take a look real quick at Mekhi Becton. This is Mekhi Becton the year before Kellen Moore, and then move him around a little bit. All right, so 2023, Mekhi Becton has a 56.3 run block grade, not great, a 60.7 pass block grade, not great, and an overall grade of 53.2. Trevor Penning last year, which would theoretically be the year before his breakout, had a 70.1 run blocking grade, much better than Mekhi Becton's, a 51.6 pass blocking grade, not great, and a 60.2 overall grade, which was much better than Mekhi Becton's. All right, then you see Becton's 2024, 74.7, 64.2, and 75.3. All right, all pretty nicey. I have a sneaky feeling that this is going to play out kind of the same, and I think Trevor will be the starting left guard. And man, I tell you what, you talk about coming around full circle on Trevor Penning, where you look at his career and it was just horrible. I mean, 38.7 pass blocking grade, 38.7. You look at 2023, where 49.0 run blocking, 60.8 pass blocking, 53.6 overall. Then 2024, even some good with the run blocking, still marred with some bad with the 51.6 pass blocking grade. So if he figures it out at guard, man, you talk about back against the wall, saving your career when you have to. Now, I want to show you this too, because I saw this on Reddit and I like this post. So this was this is a post about Bryan Bresee, his fifth-year options in danger. Now, we covered these exact metrics last year, where this is pass rush win rate versus run stop rate. You can look at where Bryan Bresee is, not the quadrant you want to be in. Another metric, pass rushing rates, pressure rate, and pass rush win rate. Bryan Bresee, not exactly the quadrant you want to be in. Situational pass rush grade, Bryan Bresee, again, not the right quadrant. And then defensive interior, TPS win rate, and win rate, again, Bryan Bresee in the incorrect quadrant. And I thought this was my favorite part of it, was the, can I show this? The advanced stats nerd, and then that boy nice watcher. And it's funny because if you go into this post, like this guy or girl, Tina Jack Love 2020, has the evidence. It's like, here's the charts, here's the numbers, here's the metrics. Indisputable, right? And then the first thing is, nah, I don't believe in all that. He actually had a good year last year. It's like, brother, what do you mean? Like, look at these charts. What do you mean he had a good year last year? What are you talking about? Like, this is not good. It's just funny. We talk about it all the time. And then you can go through you can go through and it's funny to see the comments because it is kind of this, right? It is kind of this at the end of the day, where then you'll see, like, my opinion, played well against both the run and the pass. Let's see here. Nah, he had 5.5 sacks. We've been missing that. It's like, and that's something we try and do here. We try and see through the noise, and we try and look at, I mean, that's why we're always quoting the analytics, and we're always quoting these metrics, is because it can, they're not the end all be all, but it does give you an idea of what is actually going on. It's a good place to start. It's a really good place to start whenever you're talking about a player. I was just in the comment section with the Raiders, or with a Raiders fan, because I did a video on the Raiders recently, and I was talking about how Geno is good. Like, I like Geno. I think Geno is a really good quarterback, right? And one of the commenters was like, I think Aiden O'Connell and Geno are the same player. And it's like, brother, holy God. Like, if that is what you are deducing, you're watching the game wrong. And you look at this with Aiden O'Connell, 58.2 passing grade, which is 60th out of 75 quarterbacks. An overall grade of 61.2, which is 54th out of all quarterbacks. You look at Geno, and he's got an 81.9 passing grade and an 82.5 overall grade. And so it's like, if you're watching and you're like, you know what, I don't see too much of a difference between Geno and Aiden O'Connell, you are watching the wrong thing, my guy. Okay, so always good to reference the stats.
Because you didn't list anybody, is the New Orleans Saints.
I don't know where you go with the Saints. Like, I guess quarterback would be the obvious one, but I have no faith in any of those quarterbacks breaking out this year, right? The three-way battle of Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shuck. Like, if I had to pick one of those to break out, it'd be Rattler, and I don't have faith in that happening.
I don't think a rookie can break out. I think you have to have a starting point in order to break out.
So, I mean, maybe Talise Fuanga at right tackle, if he moves to the other side, goes back to where he played in college. I don't love the Saints, period, and I don't love them for breakout candidates.
I think you could make the case for Fuanga the same way I made the case for Latham, that he was good as a rookie, could go back to right tackle and just take another step forward and establish himself as a very productive right tackle. He was the first round pick last year. I went with the second round pick, Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback, Alabama. When you go back,
he'd be a good one. Alante, you could say, is already kind of broken out, but the defensive back room would be a good shout here, because defensive back is so volatile. We've already covered that, where it can be so up and down. And we've seen Alante like really have some moments there where it's like, damn, this guy's insane. He's got sacks all over the place. He's doing this, he's doing that. And then 2 plays later, it's like, okay, he might have to get off the field. Kool-Aid is a guy who I loved when they drafted Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid has a lot of potential, but because the position is so volatile, it's hard to know if he was really good or really bad last year. And it might be somewhere in the middle. But if he has a good year this year, with Brandon Staley's first year, a lot of question marks in the cornerback room, and question marks as far as like who are the best one, right? Like, we know who's there, but would it surprise anybody if Kool-Aid was our best cornerback? Would it surprise anybody if he was our 5th best cornerback? No. It's like, if you told me Quincy Riley's going to be the best cornerback, I'd be like, all right, I believe you. I can see it, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if Isaac Adam was our best quarterback, right? Or a cornerback. Cornerback and quarterback. That's my Mississippi hanging out. It's hard to distinguish those two words. But Kool-Aid would be a good one, because if he takes that step forward and he says, no, I am a legitimate starting cornerback in the NFL, that answers a lot of questions for the Saints. So I think Kool-Aid is a good pick here. My only criticism would be that that's a very difficult position to quantify if you have or have not broken out.
Back and look, he had some ugly plays in there last year, but a lot of it was in zone and just seeing the field, and I think his eyes misled him quite a bit. So those were some of the rough plays for Kool-Aid, but he was pretty good in man coverage. a lot of times vertically at the catch point, played through the hands, broke up a high percentage of passes. When
the good thing about Kool-Aid is that he should be very comfortable in Brandon Staley's kind of pattern matching zone system.
He was targeted. I thought, McKinstry kind of went, I don't know, he was like the second tier of corners last year behind Quinyon Mitchell, his teammate Terrion Arnold.
Yeah.
He went from always expected to go in the first round to just, he's a second rounder. But I thought he had a nice rookie season. So I got Kool-Aid as the breakout player. Just cut out some of the bad plays. Trust your eyes a little bit more, Kool-Aid. But I thought he was in phase quite a bit in man coverage, and that'll do him well in year 2.
That's one of those interesting dynamics as well, where like it wouldn't have been until like the last few months effectively of their college careers where he was overtaken by Terrion Arnold in terms of where they were supposed to go in the draft, right? All the way through it would have been McKinstry's the first rounder. He's the guy that's going to go top. And then suddenly towards the end, it's like, actually, we're flipping that. We think.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it was so good that we made the move to get Kool-Aid, because he did drop and there was a ton of value there. He arguably was a first round talent. It's just weird how it kind of played out in the first round last year, where all of a sudden some other guys get boosted up. I mean, even Cooper DeJean, was a guy who going into the draft process, it's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it's like, nope, LOL, he's the best defensive back in the draft class. So yeah, I mean, I think he's a first round talent. The question is, can you extract that at a position where it's very hard to extract consistent value?
Arnold's the better player going forward, and he's the first rounder, and McKinstry becomes a second round guy. Like, at what point, do you, I mean, if you look back now, you could make the case that this is a case where the sort of draft industrial complex just overthinks it, right? Like, at what point should we look at this and say, like, this is where college fans or college football people argue all the time with the draft and say, look, you just, like, we thought this thing all the way through, and then you flipped it right at the end. Like, just stick with what we know. Like,
I think Kool-Aid's not an issue, but I think Kool-Aid was a low ceiling, high floor player as far as like seen in the draft, where he's a guy where I think people knew, like, okay, he's a safe pick. Is he an exciting pick? No. And in the draft, a lot of the times those quote unquote exciting intangibles that they do win out, because all of a sudden, it's like, wow, look at blank player from, Maryland, the Eastern Shore. He has a 42-inch vertical. And it's like, well, I mean, it's cool, but does that really matter? But in the draft, in that moment, it does matter. And that's how you see people get this random run. Like Darius Hayward-Bay, I always talk about. All of a sudden, he's a top 10 pick. And it's like, what? Why? He didn't. Well, why would he be a top 10 pick? And so, he ran the 40. Look at him run the 40. It's like, all right. I mean, Kevin White with the Bears. Kevin White was another one where it's like, all right, he's all of a sudden a top 10 pick. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I think you got to be pretty good in college. You have to have some kind of dominance in college to warrant that. But a lot of the times in the draft process, those intangibles, people just kind of get obsessed with them. And then all of a sudden, boom, a player does run. And then a player without those intangibles, who's just seen as a safe, kind of lower ceiling type player like Kool-Aid, where if you looked at Kool-Aid's college career, it's like, okay, this guy's awesome, right? But those intangibles weren't there to push him to the draft complex like he's talking about.
So the better players draft those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Trey Amos was going to step up as the starter for Alabama that year, but Arnold and Kool-Aid had such a good year. And now Amos is sitting there in Washington. They're all in the NFL as first and second round picks. Let's wrap up the South with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Really kind of amazing that this hombre on the right didn't even have one for the Saints. Didn't even write one down. I mean, that's something else. That's something else to not even have one. And it just kind of shocks me. It just kind of shocks me sometimes how the Saints just get completely forgot about. Like, I'm looking at some of these other guys that are being listed on here. And it's like, you couldn't just come up with somebody? You couldn't just name somebody? I mean, you have Theo Johnson and Jalix Hunt and Jerzan Newton and Travis Jones and Jermaine Burton, but you couldn't have one for the Saints. But I feel pretty good about Trevor Penning. I think Trevor, I believe in the system, and I think it's another one of those like Sudoku puzzles where it's just a perfect fit. It's just a perfect fit for him to play guard with his skill set, with his attitude, with the way he plays the game. You got a coach who's very used to this as far as like moving a guy like Trevor Penning to guard. I think the whole system just fits itself. He's next to either Kelvin Banks or Talise Fuaga, however it plays out. And he's got Eric McCoy there, barring injury or something. So I just think it's a good spot for him. I really do. I think he's going through a lot to where a fresh start in a fresh position that he should be good at, that's not the pressure of a tackle, that he's not dealing with the threat of a defensive line or defensive edge beating him one-on-one, getting a sack, that whole thing. So, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be a mauler. I think we'll be able to run the football well. And my prediction is that this is the year where Trevor has a big year. We give him the contract at guard, and all of a sudden you've got Kelvin Banks, Trevor Penning, Talise Fuaga, all serviceable, very good for some, like Fuaga and hopefully Banks, young offensive linemen. So Trevor Penning is my choice. Get on down in the comments below. Let me know your choice for your breakout player. No rookies allowed. No rookies allowed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.